Let's get to work on pages 8 to 12 of our Roses journal. This is a start to finish of each one of those pages. I've discovered something new that I need to share with you guys. So a lot of you guys have bone folders and I don't have one, but I wanted something that would crease my paper as you just saw me do. And to be clear, I have two paper cutters and one of them does have a little thing on it where it'll crease the paper for me. But the one I'm using right now doesn't have that. So I took a clothespin. As you guys know, I have a collection of clothespins and I use them to hold things down. And I used it in the track of my paper cutter and it worked perfectly. So I wanted to let you know, if you don't have a bone folder, you don't need to run out and get one. You can use your paper cutter and then something, it doesn't have to be a clothespin, but something that will just go along that paper cut line and just crease that paper so that it'll fold just nice and perfect and straight for you. Now that I have shared my new discovery with you, let's get into the formal introductions. Welcome. I'm so pleased that you are here. Thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to mention that this is a design team project for Rach and Bella Crafts, and we are working on the Rose Journal. The name of the kit that I am using is Letters of Love, and it is an absolutely beautiful kit. I shared the kit with you in my first video in this series, but you also can see the kit by going to Rach and Bella's Etsy shop and you can see the entire thing. So you can view it there or you can view my first video. When I make journals, I do love to add tags and tucks and all that good stuff, but I also make it a priority to be sure to make sure there is plenty of writing space. So I try to find the balance of beautiful, just goodness, and also writing space. So you'll see on a page like this that I'm working on, underneath this first writing tab, I've got another small piece of paper with lines on it that you can write on. Another thing I try to do when I am creating journals is I try to leave blank spaces or untouched areas where you could add photos if you wanted. You could add your own writing paper. You could just take some time to be creative. Frequently, people buy journals for just to have a collection of journals because they're beautiful and they love to look through them. Also, people buy them to actually utilize and write in. Some people use them as scrapbooks. So I try to keep all of that in mind. So I try to make it functional and beautiful, but I also try to leave a little bit of space in case somebody wants to be creative and then add their own personal touch. Just to mention, along with the Letters of Love digital kit by Rach and Bella Crafts, I'm also using a 6x6 scrapbook pack, and it is called Romance, and the two look beautiful together. What I'm working on now is a tag that will go in the upper right pocket that I created. I want to be sure to mention that this journal that I'm creating is going into a book, an actual book that I've gutted. So it's going into the book cover. And I'm not going to alter the spine. I want the book to remain exactly as is, except for all these new wonderful pages inside of it. So while I'm decorating and embellishing the journal, I need to keep everything as flat as possible. So what you're going to see is I will be using layers of paper. You can see here I'm getting ready to use some washi tape. By the way, I always use glue underneath my washi tape because I don't trust it. You will see me using some ribbon, but the ribbon will be fine. It's not going to be any sort of bulky, nothing too decorative. I will be adding some lace because I just want that touch in this journal, but it won't be too much. So even when we have to sort of discipline ourselves and not get too crazy with our embellishing, we can still make it beautiful and we can still keep it relatively flat. And so that's what I'm going to be working on in this journal. These 2 pages are just about done. I'm going to finish up this tag and then we will work on the next 2 pages. All right, here we are working on the next 2. Look at the gorgeousness of this digital print. It's just beautiful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a little pocket at the bottom, and I am using a piece of the ephemera from the kit to do that. You may notice that there is now a pink piece of lace on the right hand side covering some of the image. I must have attached that off camera. So anyway, I wanted to point that out to you just so that you would know that was there as we move forward. On the left hand side, I'm going to go ahead and attach a piece of lace to the edge. And on the edge of that lace, I'm going to add a piece of ribbon just to sort of finish it off, give it a finishing detail. This is going to be a pretty simple spread on this page, simple but beautiful. I am going to pop a tag in that pocket. I'm going to leave the right hand side as is, just with the lace on it, and call this one done. So let's move on to our next spread. I'm going to start this page off by layering a piece of striped scrapbook paper. I don't plan my layouts prior to putting them together. I just have my supplies around me and I work very intuitively, and I just put things together that I feel like look nice together. So my point of telling you that is because you'll see here that I'm moving some pieces around the page and I'm trying to decide what looks good, what I feel like works. I finally decide that I'm going to create a pocket using this beautiful piece of ephemera from the kit. I think it's perfect. I'm going to put it right there in the middle of the page. I'm putting this little decorative envelope in there, and I think that works great. I'm using my clothespins to keep the pocket in place while the glue dries. I put the piece of ephemera in there because I want it to take up the space that it's going to end up taking up. That way when the glue dries up, it's not too tight and it's not difficult to get that envelope into that pocket. Let's finish this off with a pretty piece of red satin ribbon. I feel like it needs something more, so I'm going to go ahead and attach some pretty lace to the top of this page. Although I love this page as it is, I've decided I want to add a splash of color. So I'm going to use these roses, and I want to let you guys know, some of you already saw the video, but I cut these roses out using my fussy cut scissors. I'm sorry, not my fussy cut scissors, my decorative edge scissors. And you'll see it gives the roses a very natural look. That page is officially done. We're just waiting for the roses to dry. So let's start working on the right side. This page consists of a vintage, almost antique music sheet, and I had printed out one of the images from the kit on it. So what you see with the blue and then the red roses, that is a kit page printed on the vintage music sheet. So I added one of the hearts from the kit, and I did that because I'm using it as sort of like a tab to hold the tag in the pocket. Sometimes when we use a book page for a pocket, I don't know, sometimes it just feels a little bit looser, so that way this tab will hold the tag in place. Simply embellished it with a beautiful butterfly that was from my stash. Speaking of my stash, I've gone through it a couple of times to gather things for this journal. I found a vintage playing card. It's going to be perfect. I'm going to put it in the little pocket with the envelope. And that's it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.